October 17th, the Celtics will open up the NBA season at the Cavs, the only time the Celtics will visit Cleveland next season. Randy, over to you.
All right, Tony. Yeah, you can't script these storylines, this drama. Our NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski with us in studio. Woj, listen. There was a time where Kyrie said he wanted to get dealt, and everybody said, you know, Boston makes a lot of sense, but it'll never happen. Top 2 seeds in the East. Why would they get this deal done? Here we are this morning. How did we get here?
Well, you know, as we kind of had reported all along, Cleveland had been focused on Boston throughout this process because the Celtics could give Cleveland assets that not only help them in the short term, Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, but long term, getting that 2018 Nets pick. And as the Cavaliers canvassed the league, they didn't have an offer anywhere near the kind of deal they could do with Boston, and that got them pretty quickly in this process to try to start focusing on getting a deal done with the Celtics.
Everybody has a grade on this thing. I've seen one that says the Cavs get an A, the Celtics get a C. I've seen the reverse of that. What's the reaction from around the league that you're hearing to this deal?
Well, I think executives around the league look at what Cleveland did here and thought that, for the most part, they maximized what was available to them on the market. And it gives Cleveland flexibility here long term. Isaiah Thomas will be a free agent at the end of the year. If LeBron James decides to leave, well, Cleveland doesn't have to re-sign Isaiah Thomas. It gives them some salary cap flexibility. If LeBron decides to stay, well, then they can extend Isaiah Thomas. And that certainly for Cleveland was something they wanted. They didn't want to have to take on long-term money in a trade for Kyrie Irving because they don't have a commitment from LeBron James, and they have real questions about whether he's going to remain with them.
That's the next step in this. You could look at it as a recruitment step to try, hey, LeBron, this is the team we're willing to build around you, or with the Brooklyn pick, we're willing to set up our franchise for life beyond LeBron James. Any indication what sort of impact this has had on LeBron's decision?
No, there's no indication, and it's not going to impact his decision. He's going to look at the end of the season and decide, is there somewhere else that either he wants to live, he wants to play, sees a better chance at winning championships. He's going to have to decide what his priorities are at this point in his career. But for Cleveland, they weren't going to be in a situation here where they loaded up for a year and then were stuck going forward. They proceeded in these trade talks with Kyrie Irving as if LeBron James was going to leave because they have to. They don't have a commitment from him going forward.
It's a prudent course of action if you're running a franchise with or without LeBron James as it is. So Al Horford is on a big deal in Boston. Gordon Hayward's on a huge contract as well. Now you bring in Kyrie Irving, kind of a team-friendly deal, which is tough to say when you're pushing $20 million. What sense are you getting of Boston's confidence in being able to re-sign Kyrie? Because he could opt out in 2 years.
That's a big part of the reason why Boston did this deal, because they have tremendous confidence they can re-sign Kyrie Irving. Kyrie had a group of teams that really interested in him. Boston was among them. He wanted teams. He wanted teams that had strong front offices, coaching staff, in great markets, and with rosters that are built for the long term. Boston satisfies all those criteria, but Boston would not have given up what they did to think that Kyrie was just a 2-year rental. But the Celtics are an ideal situation for any star player in his 20s. He's lined up age-wise with Gordon Hayward, and really a 2-deep roster. Danny Ainge has done a tremendous job in reshaping, rebooting this roster. Boston's built now to contend in the East, not just this year, but really 5-6 years out.
It feels rare from a casual fan perspective to see this sort of deal this far along in the summer. Any other deals you could see coming together between now and October when the season starts?
Well, Carmelo Anthony is probably the most likely player, elite player to be on the move eventually. But New York, Houston, they've talked at length about the possibility of a Melo deal. There's no traction for them to do a two-way deal. They need a third team, maybe even a fourth team. Both teams are fairly resigned to the fact that Melo may have to come to training camp in New York, and then New York will proceed as the season goes.
He's sitting around saying, you know, Chris Paul got dealt, and Kyrie Irving got dealt, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, and here I am in New York. He's our NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, with us, and the insight is always appreciated on SportsCenter. Tony, back.